Alright, what I have here is from Bragdon Enterprises. It's a system for making rock castings and scenery out of foam, and I got like whatever the basic starter kit is, and surprisingly it came with a lot of different things. I already had the mold already, which is this. I'm trying to model a scene alongside of a river, and this is pretty close to how the actual rocks look, so that's kind of why I went with it. And I went with the foam system. It's slightly more flexible than casting it in plaster or hydrocal or anything like that, so this is an experiment for me, but quite a lot of stuff comes in the kit. This stuff is the mold releasing agent. You apparently rub it onto the mold first, and then you spray it with a solvent-based spray paint or lacquer, and it keeps the foam and the casting materials from sticking to the mold and kind of ruining it. So that you just kind of like brush on, or basically spray on with a little like hand sprayer like you do for spraying glue on scenery. So that goes on first. And what else? This is the casting resin, which is a harder plastic that it's the first layer to go on after the spray paint, and it, you know, provides a better surface for getting in all the nooks and crannies of the mold, and it's harder than the foam background will be. And so it's, you know, not going to get damaged or anything like that when you're working on it. So it comes in two parts, and you just mix equal parts together and pour it in there. Hopefully I'll be able to get a test done to see how it all works together in the next day or two. And what else do we got here? And these are the actual foams. And it's the same kind of system. You just mix the two liquids together and stir them up in equal parts, and after a minute or two or a few minutes they start. This one actually expands. This I don't think really expands at all. I think it just hardens. And so these will kind of expand and kind of fill in the back of the hard plastic. And this is kind of what you're going to be gluing to your styrofoam or your plaster scenery base, whatever type of like shell you're using to put the rock molds on top of. And you just have an A and a B for each of them, and have little cups. I'm going to have to pick up some more supplies like gloves so I don't get this all over myself. And what else do we have? This is all paint. So once the mold is finished and pulled out of the latex mold, you can, I haven't looked through to see what colors are in here, but it looks like, you know, fairly standard rock colors, and there's a different powder that you can apply for shadows. All this I haven't even tried yet, so I'm gonna have to wait until I get to that point to see how it all works. And then also they sent a window screen. It's like a plastic fine mesh window screen that kind of you put it in with the foam in a layer, and it kind of holds the foam together, kind of like a steel rebar and concrete sort of thing. And what else? I'm not sure if all this generally comes with well, the resin and the foam I'm sure do. The release agent I think is new for them, and so this might be they just sent it along with me. They also sent a few examples of their rock molds. As you can see, it hardens pretty good. What else do we have here? And it looks pretty much like plaster, only it's an actual plastic, and then the foam is behind it. And it's, you know, slightly more flexible than, you know, plaster will be, but I think when you're pulling it out of the mold, it's a lot more flexible until it dries fully for the next, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, or however long it takes to dry. And so you can kind of bend it a little bit easier at that point. Like I read, you can slightly heat it back up with a hairdryer or a hot air gun and make it a little bit more flexible if you're trying to bend it around a specific shell. So that's pretty much all they gave, you know, obviously directions. It's kind of a complex system, more than just pouring in plaster. So I'm going to have to go through and read everything and do a little experimenting, and hopefully pretty soon I can show you some cliffs alongside the river in my little module I'm making. So let's take a look.